But honestly, I would love to be that. I'd love to be the driver known as the X-ray taken Monster Jam driver. I'd love to still be in Monster Jam. I hope to still be in Zombie. Maybe there'll be a new truck that comes out that I get to help with. I hope that happens, but we shall see.
How do they give you how do they basically, what's the word I'm thinking of? How do they decide what truck you drive?
They kind of look at your personality, and they don't tell you until like a few months before. So it really goes by your personality, I think.
Gotcha.
Because they see Zombie with me and, X-ray. Oh, that's cool. The bones stick out on Zombie a little bit. And then with Kayla, she drives Soldier Fortune, and she has military background. Same with Tony Oaks. He drives Soldier Fortune Black Ops. They both have a military background. So the trucks really go with their personality.
And by the way, in years past, you have drove other monster trucks that include, let's see here, I'm just trying to look down, and I think there was the Stoner. You drove Stoner or Stomper. You've drove Stomper before.
Stomper.
You drove Stomper. You drove Heavy Metal. That's another one that I've looked at seeing that you've raced before. And of course, I think there's another one. Was it Demolition Diva? Was that your first monster truck that you ever raced?
Yes, that was a mini monster truck. The first full-size monster truck I've ever driven was called Chalkboard Chuck, and Stomper is actually my dad's truck, so he owns that himself. Got you.
So let me ask you a question. Monster Jam is obviously a lot of times, the Monster Jam circuit, whenever they come around to where I live in the Carolinas, it's only during the winter months. And the Monster Jam is normally like competed during the winter. Do you ever have a time off? Do you ever have a break, or do you go and compete Monster Jam year round, or do you have an off season with Monster Jam? And if doing so, are you allowed to go compete in other monster truck competitions with other sanctioning bodies, or are you kind of tied down to a contract?
I am currently only with Monster Jam, which I'm totally fine with. Monster Jam has actually just added a whole bunch of new shows, so everyone can go check that out on monsterjam.com. They added a bunch of new shows in different locations, so that's going to be awesome because we get to reach out to more fans. They get to see our awesome trucks. We get to put on a good show for them. And right now, this is kind of my downtime until I get done with my summer clinical schedule, and then I'll go back into racing.
Got you. So with your summer clinicals that you just, I know you're doing, do you want to, is there a time where Macey Nichter is going to get out of running monster trucks and maybe focus on another career? Are you single? No kids? You're just basically focused on Monster Jam right now?
Well, I'm actually engaged, so I'm trying to plan a wedding, too. So I'm doing everything right now.
Gotcha. But obviously, with your education and all the things you're doing in nursing, do you see yourself maybe wanting to eventually move on from monster trucks and go into another career, or is this something that you still want to do until you decide to retire from it?
I don't think that I'm ever going to give up monster trucks. It's always been a huge part of my life. The only time I'm not going to be in a truck is probably like 10 years from now when me and my fiance decide to have kids. But that's only going to be for 9 months, and then I'm going to go right back into it because monster trucks are always such a huge part of my life, and I'm not going to give them up anytime soon.
Gotcha. So I got a final question for you, Macey, before I let you go. Has there been one moment in your career for Monster Jam that stands out that you'll never, ever forget? Can you tell us that story?
Absolutely. There was this boy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He came up to me during a Boy Scout pit party that we had exclusively for the Boy Scouts on a Friday night, and he came right up to me, and he was telling me how much of an inspiration I am to him, and I almost started crying right there in the pit party line, and I just gave him the biggest hug ever, and his mom actually captured a picture of it, and it's probably my favorite picture I've ever had. When it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if truck breaks, if we win a competition or whatever. It matters with how those fans leave and how much of an impact we can make on them.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the things that I got to acknowledge. Like, for instance, I want to say it was the guy that was driving Gravedigger's truck in Raleigh. I know he He won the competition on Friday night, or I'm sorry, he won the competition on Saturday night, but he blew his engine in freestyle. And Sunday afternoon, because I took my son to both days of it, because my son loves Munster Jam. Everything is Munster Jam. He's got your Munster truck, Macy. He's got everybody's zombie. He's got Munster Energy. He's got, Cape Crusader and Superman and Blue Thunder and Gravedigger and all that stuff. I mean, he literally goes through this stuff more than I do. And I think that's awesome, because I remember having that type of niche, being a kid, loving racing, loving NASCAR. You tell me a car number and I tell you exactly who it is, who they're from, who they drive for, and what driver their sponsors are. And he's in that same passion of Munster Jam. I look at another friend of mine in the racing industry, Brittany Bouch, and her son. She just took her son Sam down to Orlando, a matter of fact, for the World Finals, and he had a ball with it. So I think that's really, really cool that you do things like that for these children. So continue to keep on keeping on. Thank you for taking the time to be on the program. And maybe we'll talk to you again sometime. Yes, ma'am, definitely. And by the way, if you have any sponsors, go ahead and thank them.
A huge thank you to Lethal Threat and Lethal Angel. They're an awesome clothing brand out of New York. They've got some really cool stuff for not only ladies, but for men too. Work sport apparel. They have started with me from the very bottom to now, so I love them. I also want to give a huge shout out to Woody Sunglasses, Breastline Ace, and also to Glambo Motorsports.
So you do have sponsors.
I do.
You do have sponsors. You gotta have sponsors just like in Munster Jam, just like in racing. But what I was saying was that to see the guy from the Gravedigger truck break down, he still stayed on Sunday and competed and ran the speedsters, ran the four-wheelers, the ATVs, still to be a part of the program. And I think that showed the true character of you guys and gals on Munster Jam, that even though your big trucks blowed up, you still came out and you put on a show for the fans.
Absolutely. Fans are always our number one priority.
Well, Macey Nichter, let everybody know how they can follow Zombie and social media on Munster Jam.
They can follow me on Instagram at Monster Truck and Mace. There's no G in the trucking, just N. And then they can go to my fan page on Facebook, which is my name.
There you go. That is Macey Nichter. And by the way, my mistake last night when I typed up the write-up, I put M-A-C-Y. It's M-A-C-E-Y, Nichter. And, of course, follow her. She don't have Twitter. People, we got to get her on Twitter. Everybody in the motorsports industry uses Twitter. Macy, we got to get you on Twitter.
I know. I'm just not a Twitter person.
I heard that. Well, Macy, thank you so much, and you take care of yourself, and I appreciate you being on Finish Line.
Thank you very much for having me. I had fun.
Not a problem. Thank you, and I will catch up again sometime. Macey Nichter, driver of the Zombie Munster truck. Munster Jam has successfully wrapped up their 2019-18-19 schedule. They'll fire back up again very soon, as, of course, all details at munsterjam.com. And that's going to do it for our May 15th edition of Finish Line. Thank you to Bob Dillner, Toledo, MAV TV, the ARCA 200, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. He'll be on the call with Jim Trado on the MAV TV Motorsports Network. Short Track America tonight with March Madness from Cherokee Speedway with yours truly, Bob Dillner on the call in the booth, and Alan Dietz on pit road. Speed51.com, your choice of 6 different races beginning tonight at Millbridge without Lockhart. Don't forget about the Speed 51 Open. We'll talk about that next week on a recap, and so much more. Thank you also to Christian Eckes and Munster Jam's Zombie of Macey Nichter. Remember, whether it's dirt, asphalt, straight line, or even in Munster trucks in the road to life, there is always a finish line. For executive producer Trey Snyde, I'm Wesley Outland. Be great to one another. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy the races, whether it's dirt, asphalt. Get out there, support short track racing. You are the heartbeat that keeps it going and thriving. And we'll do it again on Finish Line next Wednesday. God bless you all. Take care.
This episode of Finish Line is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening and being a fan of motorsports.
This is Finish Line.